I'm Austin, my YouTube channel, Austin and Stuff. Gonna head outside. All the dogs have to come out with me because they cannot be alone. It's a little too difficult. It's kind of cloudy today, but I don't mind. I kind of like cloudy days. I'm a little sick. I have to work extra hard to keep my eyebrows up. Heavy, thick eyebrows, and they usually make me look angry, and I'm not angry. I'm just lifting my eyebrows. It's just so much work, more work than I like to put in. I'm walking around a little bit today. It helps me think when I walk around, and so most of my videos I will probably definitely be walking around. So I talked a little bit about my last video, a little bit about me and my social anxiety and how I deal with social anxiety personally, just some of the ways I do it. And today I'm going to talk a little bit more about that and some of the struggles I've had being someone of great imagination and who did not like to talk to people because people were terrifying to me. And one of the things I did, and I'm sure a lot of people who are even kind of close to me at all, similar to me at all, have done the same thing, and that is fantasy versus reality. And there's different types of fantasy versus reality, and one of them is for kind of an extreme, and this is kind of where I was, and that is living in Lala fantasy foofoo land. And anyone with even a little bit of imagination, it's really easy to live there, because why think about and face reality when you can be a princess or a superhero or what have you, whatever does it for you. And I know a lot of people who are really into like maybe cartoons, like anime, or even like really good TV shows, or they like to project themselves in those kind of fake lives because it's fun and it's exciting. Like you can be hardcore, cool, or nice and pretty, and all the guys like you, or whatever you want to be. And it's a fun place to live. And I know personally for many years, I lived there. I lived in that world. It felt so good to think about it and to live there. But when I would leave that, it was suffocating because I wasn't a superhero. I wasn't hardcore. I wasn't, well liked or popular or any of that kind of stuff. And that's who I was in my really fantastic fantasies, that I was a really good fantasizer. The anime and cartoons would stop because I would have to go to work or I'd have to go to school. It was to such an extreme where I could not fall asleep without fantasizing. And a lot of people, they can't fall asleep without listening to music or without watching TV. And it's the same type of thing because it's a distraction. It makes it so you don't have to think about what's actually going on. I'm gonna open the door for the dog. Come on. It's my life. Opening and closing doors for my dogs, my animals. But I felt so detached and so lonely because my fantasies were keeping me away from real things. And the worse real things got, the more I immersed myself in fantasy. And I mean, not being able to fall asleep without fantasizing, that's an extreme. I mean, to me that was pretty. But a lot of people, I know a lot of people live in that world. I've never been much into video games. Come on. I've never been much into video games, but I assume that it's very similar. Beating the boss and all that good stuff. And so that was an extreme, okay? And I know a lot of people struggle with that. They have their Lala foofoo fantasy lands, and it's the best place in the world. Okay, so now I'm gonna go to something a little bit different, but they're all attached. What a lot of people do, even people that are not obsessed with cartoons or Lala Fantasyland, here's a different type of reality versus fantasy, is when people try to maneuver reality to coincide with their fantasies. And I promise you, a good portion of you guys do that. And I see girls do this with their relationships. There's this guy and he likes her, and let me tell you girls right now, I'm just gonna say it, just because a guy likes you does not mean he's right for you. Bottom line. The basis of a relationship should not be because one person likes the other one. There should be a lot more to it. And I'm telling you this because I'm sure you've seen on the news plenty of times where someone likes someone else, and there's a ton of different types of likes. And like, what kind of like? Okay, so anywho, to move on. Fantasies versus realities. And so people, and this is common for a lot of people, especially women, I don't know a ton about guys, being not a man myself, but being a lady person, sister myself, I know girls struggle with this. And this is, for one example, finding a guy who likes you and creating this fantasy of him. And I don't mean like, oh, he's a superhero, he's a knight. No. I mean like, he's gonna love me, he's gonna take care of me, he likes me, he understands, la la la. You come up with this fantasy of him, and you want him to be this person. And so in your mind, because you want this so much, you create him to be this person, even though you don't know him yet. You just met him, or you just kind of know him. Maybe like you go to school with him or something. You just kind of know him, but he likes you, and so you want to like him too. And so you create this fantasy, this persona of him, and you fall in love with that fantasy or that persona. And a lot of girls struggle with this, and they feel like they're in love with this person, but what they're in love is that they're in love with their own imagination. And this entire time they're working really hard to keep this relationship together because they love this ideal of him that they have created for themselves, and they try to control and warp reality, even though the reality is that he's just whatever, or maybe even worse than just whatever. You know what I mean? Those are kind of two extremes of fantasies, and how you try to get it to coincide with your life or with you. The camera is shaking because it's cold outside, and I'm shivering a little bit, but I'm in a thought process, so I can't go inside until my thought process is over. Stay with me. And by the way, I'm like super not a professional editor, and so while everyone else on YouTube can cut out the breaths between like each word, and so you don't have to listen as much, I cannot do that. So sorry, I can't do that, but I will do the best I can, because I know it's hard to listen for a long time. You get distracted, there are other things to do, and I tend to kind of go on about the same subject like I'm doing right now. But you can stay with me. I believe in you. You can do it. Anywho, so those are kind of extreme examples, but I mean, if you watch TV and maybe you would be in middle school and you see all these shows about what's like to be in high school, like High School Musical. I never cared for that show, but you know what I mean. And you get there and you're like, where's all the singing and the dancing? Why did the cool kid not find me and realize that I'm just a gym waiting to be opened? Open the door for the dog. And so people tend to get angry and bitter and depressed and seclusive and lonely because they cannot control reality based off their fantasy. Or here's another thing that happens: their whole life is based off of unreality. Everything that they do, everything that they say is based off of this fantasy that they are trying super hard to play out. Everything. And it's exhausting, and it takes away from you because it's not real. It's not real. And you are the only person living in that fantasy. You are the only one living in your fantasy, and no one else can join you there. There are no friends there. There are no boyfriends there. There are no husbands there. There are no siblings there. It is just you. You are by yourself. And I'm telling you this as a friend, okay? I'm telling you this as a friend. You cannot have relationships living in that world, because that world is not real. It's not real. It's fake. Again, I'm trying to be as nice as possible, but I just want to be frank and blunt with you guys as your friend. So everybody, in conclusion, instead of wasting all of your time, your energy, your breath, and yourself, really wasting yourself on this projection, this fantasy of yours, spend your time investing in reality and what's actually going on, and actually dealing with your feelings. And bad things that are happening, just start dealing with it now, because if you don't deal with it at some point, it's going to all come back at the end, and you just really don't want to live your life like that, right? You want to live your life aware of stuff instead of living in ignorance. Anywho, I hope what I was talking about today was helpful. I hope that maybe I was able to speak to some of you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I hope it made you feel good. I hope it made you think about yourself. It's good to think about yourself. And I will see you all next week. Thanks a lot. I believe in you all. You can do it. Bye-bye.